All right, everybody, that is exactly how you want to start a road trip, especially when you've been struggling on the road. The Avs dismantle the Flames by a tune of 6-2. Let's talk about it. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
Your Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in and making it your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. Make sure you're following us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter X, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram, and Threads. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And make sure you're following us over on our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live, and definitely subscribe to our subtext. Link to that is in the show notes below, because when you do, you chat with Kyle and I one-on-one. We get your thoughts and opinions on everything Avs related, which we share on this very podcast. All right, sir. So yeah, this one's going to be pretty much about the most recent game, and that is the Flames, the first game against the Flames for your 4-game road trip. And this is what we talked about yesterday. Like you're going to a back-to-back, and your second game is back-to-back is against, the mighty Vancouver Canucks. So you want to start off on a positive note against a team that's reeling a little bit, and you really only needed 40 minutes to do it. The third, to use the road trip analogy, they put it in cruise control in the third period, because they had you're up 6-2. You put a 5 spot up on them in the second, and it was just smooth sailing from there. So yeah, while you're playing it, you're resting a little bit. Maybe you're rolling 4 lines, so you're not as gassed as you are for tomorrow, which is just going to be a challenge. But gotta feel good about how this game went.
Yeah, especially starting out, you were down 2-1 in this game. It was one of those going into the second. You didn't know what this game would look like. In that second period, the Avs exploded, and they pushed back in a way that it's going to be something to keep an eye on. I want to see, again, what this new construction roster looks like against Vancouver. But hey, you just swept the Calgary Flames. That's it. You're done with the Flames this season. You are 3-0 against the Flames, and you looked real good. We'll get to the stats and individual performances a little bit later, but there's some stats, team stats, that I want in the Louvre, my friend.
Yeah. You lucked out a little bit. I guess Markstrom had some injury during morning warm-ups or something like that, so he couldn't play. So you get Dan Vladar, who, I mean, the first period, you were in complete control of that period. That was as dominant a period, full stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was definitely as dominant of a period that you are trailing at after the first. And I didn't have one shred of panic in me after that, because if you keep doing that, especially against him, like, he made some fantastic saves in the first period. You were pretty confident if they keep up that pressure, there's no way he can keep that up over the course of a game. I know we've seen it, especially in the beginning of the year, the Sharks game with your boy there, who just played out of his mind. That doesn't happen all the time, right? So, but it was just what they had, I think, over 20 shots on goal in the first. It was all Avalanche, everything. And they only had the one goal to show for it, which was the Mikko goal early on, power play goal, which looked good, by the way. You could see, like, well, and yeah, like you said, we'll get to the stats and stuff like that. But does this team not have a different vibe to it with these 4 new guys that they have? You get a different feeling of, and maybe it's just the newness of it all and the freshness of it all. But you get a different vibe that the rolling the 4 lines, you're more comfortable doing that right now than you were pre-trade deadline.
And you got to watch it all game long. It really developed in that second period into the third, where you felt we talk about it many times. All the everydayers know where the Avs get too cute with the puck and just kind of pass it and not look, and just kind of anticipate where pucks need to go. You saw that slowing down in that second period and into the third, where passes were a lot crisper. They started playing like they started to understand where everybody's going to be. And I loved seeing that and seeing a team react to Eustace letting in 2 goals. When was the last time we talked about that? It's been at least 2 or 3 games, but Eustace let in 2. And this
Early
team
on too. Was it 2 goals in the first 3 shots, 4 shots, or something like that?
and the team still held on. And Eustace ended up with a .926 save percentage at the end of the night. And the defense, it looked loose at the beginning, but tightened up and looked incredible towards that third. And I think that has a lot to do with taking the wind out of the sails of Calgary. But this Avalanche team, like I said, wonderful, wonderful case in point for these new acquisitions. Now show me Vancouver.
How important is Val Nichushkin to this team?
Oh,
If you didn't see that, I mean, that was on full display. Calgary had no answer for pretty much everything the Avalanche were doing, but especially that top line. That top line was just doing whatever they wanted to do. It was Nuke, McKinnon, and Mikko on the top line for this game. Arturi Lehkonen was out. He was sick. So, I don't know what the lines would have been with him in there, but man, like those 3 guys, Calgary had no shot. They were literally doing whatever they wanted to do. And how impressive is it when Val Nichushkin, who just came back, his second game back, is already making passes like he did on like right in front of the goal, like right in the house, right in the crease, right to Mikko Rantanen for that first goal. And then that pass he made to Nathan McKinnon, which was just cross ice, a bullet, which Nathan McKinnon, the goal he made was just like, wow. Like I say it all the time in hockey, like that's equivalent of like dunking over somebody in basketball. It was just to be on par and on track already for him. It's like he did not lose a step, and you just see everything that he brings to this team. The size, he's got the speed, obviously, the net front presence. He's invaluable to this team, and it was on full display against Calgary.
yeah, it's crazy when you ask a guy who hasn't played hockey in a couple of weeks to come back and he gets a game winner, and then he follows it up with a 3-point night. And Nuke, he's got that 5-tool mentality, but now he's playing with like this extra air of lightness to his play. It's so weird to see. He's got this extra confidence and just he plays with such control now that it's Nuke. He is the most underrated player, not just on the Avalanche, but in the NHL for what he gives to this team night in, night out. You see it in the record. It's backed up with stats, and you can see it with your eyeballs. You watch this game, you see Nuke as a part of this roster and what he gives. It's indescribable.
He was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. So we'll get into this second period that really just made the entire game. So we'll kind of talk about that. All the new guys, all of them get in on the mix, save for one as far as the score, the stat sheet goes, but still, they all looked good. So a lot more to get to. We have our subtext people to get to, and of course, our sound check as well. So a lot more to get to. So let's do that right after this. First, we're going to hear from Ibotta. Grocery bills are so expensive these days, but now they don't have to be. Start getting cash back on your grocery shopping with the free Ibotta app and get cash back every time you shop. Ibotta is a free app that gives you the most cash back every time you shop on hundreds of items, from groceries to beauty supplies to toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year, and that could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip. So you can buy that flight you've been eyeing, that game you're dying to go to, or the fancy dinner that you've been craving. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much, but with Ibotta, you just add your offers in the app, upload your receipt, and you get real cash that you can cash out to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. So join over the 50 million users and earn cash back every time you shop from over 2,700 brands and retailers, including Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 for just trying Ibotta using the code LOCKEDONNHL when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use that code LOCKEDONNHL. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play Store or the App Store. And once again, that code is Locked On NHL. So yeah, like the second period is really where it just what you were kind of expecting, or at least based on the first period, that was a good period for the Avs. Everything like the dam opened, and it was just what you really thought this game was going. But nothing is guaranteed because we've seen the Avs play well and not really be able to cash in and come through on anything. But that was not the case for this game. So yeah, while you're down 2-1 heading into the second period, you just go off. Josh Manson gets the first one in the second, and then Nathan McKinnon from that Nichushkin pass, and then Nichushkin gets one back from Mikko Rantanen, and then Casey Middlestat gets his first in an Avalanche uniform, and then Mikko Rantanen gets one right before the period ends on a rebound shot that Cale Makar hit the post. And the shot that Mikko took almost at an impossible angle. When that thing went in, you're just like, it's the Avs day, at least for today.
Yep.
Everything in that second period was just going the Avs way.
And I absolutely loved, I think out of all of the flurry of goals that happened in that second period, Middlestat's just quick, snappy shot. I was like, when he took that shot and just it went in so effortlessly, I was like, ooh, this is going to be nice.
Yeah. Those ones that like that just go in and out so quickly that you the way the camera was, because he's coming in on the camera side, you didn't really see it go completely into the net. And at first I was like, oh man, did that hit like a pad, or did that hit like the back behind the net and then come back out? But based on Mark Mosier's reaction, is when you realize it was a goal, and then when you see the different angles, you're like, oh yeah. But those goals that just like bounce in and out, that's got to be a good feeling, because you beat them clean, you beat them hard, and it was a pretty goal because it was set up. He gets that full speed, he gets that puck, and he holds on to it just for that extra split second, which just gets him off his position, and he beat him clean. It was really, really pretty goal.
And we take this for granted all the time, but Nathan McKinnon's just cold-hearted, just filthy goal to get everything
So
back to
good.
where it's supposed to be. Like it made the Saddle Dome quieter than the Broncos on free agency day. It was, and I've never seen an arena so quiet in my life.
It
But the Avs
was.
did what they were supposed to do. We talked about not letting Calgary get up on you for this back-to-back, and they did what they had to do. Like, this is exactly what you want. So I would like to see them build this momentum, but I mean, good grief. We had just a gang just destroy that second period, and you want to see this team build off that. And we didn't even talk about what Miles Wood, Ross Colton, all the others that didn't really have a breakout night, what they can do. There's a lot of options for this Avalanche team.
Yeah, like you said, like it just has a different vibe to it. And those new guys, we talked about Middlestat. He had the one goal. You had Duhaime had an assist, and Sean Walker had an assist. So the only one digging on the board out of the new guys was Trinan. But I mean, he played fine. He played well, right? So I really like what Sean Walker brings to this team.
Yeah.
I think he fits in with this defensive unit perfectly. And I'm going to say this, and I don't want people to be like, oh, you're just jumping on like the new guy, and you're kind of riding that wave. Like, he could fit better than what Bo Byram did for this team.
Well,
He could, and I
It's-
think Byram fit well. I think Byram was good for this team, and we've talked about Bob Byram for many years. He was with the team, and we liked him. But the early returns for what I see, and I know it's only 2 games, I get that, but it has me excited that, man, does he look like he's on the right track with this team. And I think they might have gotten is this like Devon Taves 2.0, or what they're finding just works for them. He looks like he's a great fit.
especially, and it's one of those situations. I think Bo Byram is right where he needs to be in Buffalo, because he's got 3 goals in 2 games.
He's doing great. He's doing great.
And,
Yes. Yeah.
And Sean Walker, once he gets his feet under him, I feel like he's going to have that same kind of success as well. I feel like he's going to contribute. And I feel like it's 2 different systems. Just Bo needed a little bit of a shakeup, and he's got it. He belongs in Buffalo. And we'll see what Sean Walker does, but I do like him, and I really like Duhaime as well.
I just Walker, like, he's more aggressive in like when he decides to go to the net and jump in on the play, he's going. And Byram would kind of hang back a little bit, and I mean, and that's his game. That's fine. Like, he didn't when Walker makes the decision to be aggressive, and we saw it a couple times, he's going for it. He's not going in and then maybe just dumping the puck in and then cycling back to the blue line. And like, he's jumping in, he's gonna make an attempt for it. And I just like his speed. I like right now he's really, really impressing me. Go ahead if you got something to say that.
And just following up on this, like the new mojo, I don't know if you got to look at this yet. Have you happened to see the face-off numbers from tonight?
You know what? I did not, but I got to think that they're pretty good, because I wasn't angry for after a lot of the face-offs. Go ahead. What are they? I didn't look yet.
The Colorado Avalanche finished the night 63.2% from the face-off dot, leaving Calgary 36.8 from the face-off dot. When was the last time? And 1 for 4 on the power play.
The Avs were, but I 1 for 4, but I thought it looked good.
I
like
the cycle.
Calgary, Calgary has a weak penalty kill, I think. Do they have a weak penalty? No, they have weak power play. The penalty kill, I think, for Calgary is pretty good, actually. Mm-hmm. The Avs just, I think they were maybe trying to make the extra pass one too many times, but whatever. Like, they had the opportunities. The opportunities were absolutely there.
And they set up really well 5-on-5 as well. Like, they got really confident in that second period where they were setting up 5-on-5 and making that additional pass, but it was needed in that moment. Mm-hmm. It's just not cute passes. In the second, they really got the essential passes, and that's where the game really went out of hand.
And you mentioned Duhaime, and I what I like about him is just the physicality from him, right? Because the Avs don't have a lot of it, especially on the forwards side of the ice. But it happened early on. The Calgary got a penalty, and it was just one of those, like, Annunen had the puck, and who was it? It was like right in the beginning of the game. Where is he? Pops, how do you say his last name? I can never pronounce it. Pospisil? Pops? I can never pronounce his last name. I'm terrible at his last name. But he kind of gave Annunen like a whack, which got him a penalty. And you saw, like, the Avs just go, we're not going to stand for that.
Yep.
Which is normal. Like, I know teams do that all the time, but the Avs, they're not known for, and again, they're not physical first.
Yeah.
And I think getting guys like Duhaime, and you have Josh Manson's going to do that. It's just, if we need to, we can. And he just adds to that. If you do something that's egregious like that, we have a couple guys on this team that will address it. It's not going to be our forte. It's not going to be the first thing that we think about. We're not going to go out there and be Matt Rempe all over the place. But if you want to do something like that, like take a whack at our goalie, we'll throw a mitt in your face. We have no problem doing that.
And see, that's something you really want to look at, and I'm glad you brought that up. That especially on this road trip, you have Edmonton, you have Vancouver on this road trip, and you have St. Louis. You want to keep an eye on not just the physicality that Duhaime could bring you, but also, like you mentioned, Sean Walker, because these are replacements, and they're replacements. McDermott is loud right now. Our physicality, he just made news because of how he handled Rempe. And then you have Bo Byram getting 3 goals in 2 games and looking like he's found second life in Buffalo. Like, those are great stories outside, but what you're replacing them with inside in Colorado, you want to keep an eye on that. Right now, they're looking great. You're going to see them tested on a back-to-back, and then you're going to see them tested after some rest against Edmonton and then St. Louis. So it's something you want to keep an eye on with the comparables.
Totally agree. So let's get to our subtext people. And before we do that, we only touched on Justus Annunen, but I kind of just want to give him a little bit more cred. So let's do that, and we'll do that coming up next. All right, today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. And did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? And Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. And this offer is good through April 30th. So get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. And Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered brokered dealer. All right, let's talk about Justus again, because you knew he was going to get one of these 2 games, and I figured it was going to be this one. When you're going up against Vancouver, you're probably going to put your top goalie in for that one. But this was his first game in a while that was not against Chicago, so you wanted to see him keep this shutout streak going for as long as possible. Didn't last very long, obviously, because Calgary got those 2 in the first, but he's settled down, man. Like I know what did Calgary end up with shots wise? 27.
Yeah.
Which is and oddly enough, the Avalanche just on fire with shots, and they only had 3 in the third. So that just told you how much cruise control that they were on. But I think this is another kind of like feather in the cap of Justus Annunen right now. We know he's going to be the backup because they didn't go get anybody. And as long as he keeps playing like this, there's no reason to swap him and Prosvetov, because he's done well now in 4 straight games. Detroit, the 2 Chicago ones, and now the Calgary one. He's looking good. He's looking really good.
And I like that you say the best goalie is going to get Vancouver, because then why are you going to play Justus back-to-back nights?
Burn.
But honestly, Justus right now, he gives you a level of confidence that marries well with the new acquisitions that the Avalanche have. You have some confidence, even though he led up too early. It wasn't one of those eye roll, throw up your hands, let's see who's available. No, you felt like he could still win this game, and that's a good feeling to have. And I loved his output. I can't wait to see the next one. And
he keeps like you're saying that with him right now, because the next thing that comes is always like another first for him.
And
right?
it just ups the pressure a little bit on Georgiev because he also
Mhm.
has to perform and maintain because y- Eustace just showed you he can win without the shutout and against not being Chicago. So
Mhm.
he showed that he could lock down, focus, and win the game. Now Georgiev, now what can you do? And what a wonderful place for Avalanche fans to be in is you have two goalies really competing to show us which one is 1A actually.
Mm. Yeah, he's playing well. So, I thought I did hear on the broadcast that for the Vancouver game that what's his name over the Demko, right? That
Yeah.
will not be playing in that game. I don't know if
Oh,
he's hurt or what the issue is, but a little bit
rats.
of luck here for the Avalanche and getting some goalies that that they should be, the upper echelon of goalies they haven't been going against, at least in this back to back. So we'll see.
You're saying we have puck luck on our side?
I don't know if it's puck lucky yet. It's luck. It's some sort of luck, but we'll see. I don't know. I thought I heard them say that on the
Yeah.
broadcast. So all right, let's get over to our subtext crew. There's some comments over here. We got Madam Battleaxe. It would it would have been nice to see this kind of road trip more often this season. Nice win. We get 2 points, but one would have thought we would have learned our lesson. Why are we still going for too many men? They did get a too many men penalty, which should
It's
get rid of
how
that.
it's a signature win.
Yeah, it's not a win unless you have a too many men penalty. She said that's getting old. She feels like we spent too much time in our own zone. It would appear that the new guys are settling in and making their marks. Good to see. Great start to the road trip. Uh, yeah, I think she's well. Let's dig deep. I think she means for Vancouver. I don't. Maybe they spent too much time in their own zone in the third. But I mean, the game was in hand by then. I don't think that I think they were a great. If you go to Natural Stat Trick and look at the heat maps of this game, it is like all on the Avalanche side. They were pretty much in control of this game.
Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of anything in the third. I think everybody
Right.
knew the outcome.
Yeah. Vargar, I said it on Twitter X. I'll say it again. Sean Walker looks like he's played in the Avs system for 3 years. Prime example of a player who fits in because of the way he thinks the game. Juskin is so important to this team. Look how different the Avs look with him in the lineup. I'm so happy to see him back from the program. Nuke needs to be at his best if the Avs want to make a deep playoff run. Can't disagree with that.
No, not at all.
Yep.
I'm starting to really like Sean Walker.
Yep. And then Heather said she likes Walker too. We'll take Walker. Flyers can keep Rijo. Middlestat looks like he's had no issues keeping up with the speed of his new home. Eustace is showing that even at 24 years old, he deserves to be between those pipes. Kadri, we miss you, but it's good to show him what he chose to leave. Little twist there, Heather. I like it.
Oh,
Oh, and I wanted to bring this one up, by the way. She did say this was the other day, and I forgot to mention this. She goes, Shaggy, whether you've had to start over or keep coming up on day 5 of not smoking, keep going. We are all proud of you, sir. Is it still
hey,
going on?
yeah. At the time of episode release, this will
Yeah.
be my first week in 20 years.
Wow.
I've been nicotine free.
Wow. So Heather threw out a
Yeah, thank you.
congratulations. So, yeah, but so everybody around subtext so far is liking this play. So I don't think you can disagree with that. Yeah.
And I like saying Sean Walker because he sounds like an 80s like TV movie like character.
Yeah, like he's one of those like there's certain players where when you say their name, you say their full name.
Yeah.
And it like
Sean
Sean
Walker
Walker
is
is
one
one
of
of them.
them.
Yeah, Kale McCarr is another one.
Yep.
Who I'm trying to think of who's there's another Jonathan Quick is another
Sam
one.
Gerard.
I think you say like Sammy G
You go
sometimes,
Sammy
but
G. But
yeah. But there's so many players where you just don't say their first name or you just don't say their last name. You say both. I
yep.
think Sean Walker is
Sean
one of those
Walker.
guys. Yep. All right, let's get to our sound check. Kyle and I pick one song each that we feel best summarizes the most recent game. And these songs go up on a playlist over on Spotify. Just search for LOA Soundcheck Volume number 3. So what do you have for this one, sir? Avs and Flames.
And don't quote me on this. There have been 3 seasons of the soundcheck.
Yeah.
But I believe this is the first appearance of David Bowie on this soundcheck playlist.
I can't racking my brain. I don't think we have. This could be a first. I think we had a first with the boss earlier.
We did
this sound check. So yeah, this is crazy. Legends.
And I know I'm taking a break from my Wu-Tang and Grateful Dead, but we're going to go David Bowie and we're going to go Changes. This is just the vibe.
I like it.
The vibe of this team is completely different. Like, this was an Avalanche win on the road, 6-2. On the road. Road. So it's just talking about like the changes this team has gone through. And this is a different looking team headed toward the playoffs. So again, this is the beginning, but I like what I see.
That's a great pick. Yeah, because you just felt a different but similar vibe of watching this game. Different in that obviously you have different guys, but to me it was just the rolling of the 4 lines was evident.
Yep.
Completely evident. It wasn't just top heavy. Number one, didn't need to be because the score was out of hand, but you have this confidence that the Avs are getting back to what won them the cup, and that was 4 lines. 4 lines of hell. So yeah, you're liking where it goes. For me, I'm gonna. It's a 4-game road trip. I'm gonna make all 4 of these songs something about the road. We're gonna hit the road here along with the team. So the first one I'm gonna do is Tom Petty's "Running Down a Dream."
Ooh.
So because that's what one of the greatest opening licks ever. Just as soon as that hits, immediately like you love it. But it's what they're doing. Like they are, the dream is the cup again, and it's you have this new crew, and they're gonna go get it. So or hopefully,
great pick.
Yeah. So we're gonna go road songs for this road trip. All right, that is gonna wrap it up for today. I think we won't be back tomorrow. This game starts way too late, or will end way too late for us to record. So we will discuss the outcome of the Avs and the Vancouver Canucks that'll be for Friday's episode. Yeah. So tune in for that. Hopefully they play a solid game, get a good win. However it goes down, we'll be talking about it. Until then, thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Very much appreciated. He's Mr. Shaggy Von Doob, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. No, we'll see you guys Friday. There we go.